Welcome to the United Updates channel, home of Manchester United latest news. David De Gea confident about signing new Manchester United contract. Story by Tyrone Marshall, senior football writer. De Gea is confident his stay at Manchester United will extend into a 13th season as talks over a new contract edge closer to a resolution. The 32-year-old's existing deal expires at the end of this season, and although United have an option to extend it for a year, the two parties have entered talks over a longer extension. That would likely see De Gea take a reduction in his £375,000 a week salary from the contract he signed in 2019, but the goalkeeper is loving life under Erik ten Hag and wants to stay at Old Trafford. The Spaniard made his 517th appearance for the club in the 2-1 win against Crystal Palace on Saturday and then expressed confidence that a new deal would be agreed. "We're still talking. I'm just focused on the game. That's the most important thing, but for sure it's going to end in a good way," he said. The win against the Eagles was a 13th successive success at Old Trafford, and with Newcastle dropping points it has moved United into third in the Premier League. They now face back-to-back Premier League fixtures against Leeds United, at Old Trafford on Wednesday and Elland Road on Sunday. Manchester United manager Ten Hag sends message to Garnacho following substitution after just 28 minutes. Story by George Smith. Alejandro Garnacho was withdrawn in the final stages of Man United's 2-1 win over Crystal Palace, despite earlier coming on as a substitute himself. Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag told Alejandro Garnacho that he was withdrawn against Crystal Palace, having less than half an hour earlier came on as a substitute, for the good of the team. The Argentine, 18, was taken off with just 3 minutes of normal time left on the clock and replaced by Harry Maguire, just 28 minutes after stepping off the bench himself. Garnacho had come on in the 59th minute to replace Wout Weghorst. United were 1-0 up at the time and doubled their advantage just 3 minutes later, courtesy of Marcus Rashford's 19th goal of the season. However, Casemiro's 70th minute red card changed the landscape of the contest, offering Palace hope of getting back into the match, which they did 6 minutes later through Jeffrey Schlupp's clever finish. Patrick Vieira's side turned the screw in the latter stages and were knocking on the door in pursuit of an equalizer, and Ten Hag responded by introducing Maguire and Victor Lindelof as United saw out the game with 4 centre-backs on the pitch. On how he adapted to Casemiro's red card and the subsequent Palace onslaught, Ten Hag said, "First we had to see how they changed, then you have to anticipate and see how we can close, how to be compact, how we close the gaps, how we get away from our goal but also still have a threat in attack. I think we had to change something. It's not always nice bringing off a player who we brought on, but it's in the interests of the team and the player has to accept that." Explaining why he had earlier brought Garnacho on in place of Weghorst, the United boss added, "Weghorst played excellently. He was strong in putting pressure, in being a point of contact. We were able to continue playing through him. Only at a certain point do you switch tactically. To put an opponent who has focused on Weghorst against a different type of player. I think it had an immediate effect." Formal bids for Manchester United are due to be submitted in the next week amid interest from the US, Middle East and Asia. But the Glazers are unlikely to receive their desired £6 billion £8 billion price tag for the club. Story by Patrick Tuer for the Mail on Sunday. Formal bids for Manchester United are due to be submitted in the next week or so, the Mail on Sunday understands. The sale, which is expected to attract initial offers of at least £4 billion, has attracted considerable interest from potential buyers in the US, the Middle East and Asia. But the early front-runner in the race to buy United is British billionaire and boyhood fan Jim Ratcliffe, owner of the Ineos Chemicals conglomerate. The Glazers finally put a "for sale" sign up outside Old Trafford in November when they said they wanted to explore strategic alternatives for United, including new investment into the club, a sale, or other transactions. United's share price has shot up on bid hopes since the announcement, with the club now valued at £3 billion, $3.67 billion, on the New York stock market. A buyer would normally expect to pay around 25% more than that for full ownership and control, implying a £4 billion price tag. Analysts say in United's case the recent share price rise means this premium is already included, but higher bids are still likely. There is a vanity asset premium in relation to Manchester United which I suspect has not yet been factored in by the market, said football finance expert Kieran Maguire of Liverpool University. The Glazers are hoping for £6 billion to £8 billion, but the business fundamentals do not justify that price, especially with a substantial capital expenditure commitment needed for a new or enhanced Old Trafford. Therefore, it will either be auction headiness or testosterone that results in a price of that nature, but we've seen that before. The Glazers are in line for a big return on their original outlay if an outright sale can be agreed. But if they hold out for the maximum price, that may deter Ratcliffe and other deep-pocketed suitors such as Qatar Sports Investments, owner of French champions Paris Saint-Germain. So far, Ratcliffe is the only bidder to have publicly declared an interest in buying United. His proactive approach is in stark contrast to his failed, 11th-hour attempt to buy Chelsea last summer. Gary Lineker and Ian Wright praise Manchester United defender Lisandro Martinez. Story by George Smith. Former England strikers Gary Lineker and Ian Wright praised Manchester United centre-back Lisandro Martinez after he produced another excellent performance in Saturday's 2-1 win over Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. The Argentine, who has been exceptional since arriving from Ajax during the summer transfer window, helped United register their fourth win on the bounce in all competitions. After Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford had fired United into a 2-goal lead, Erik ten Hag's side looked to be on course for a routine victory. Casemiro's 70th-minute red card, however, changed the landscape of the game, with Palace pulling a goal back through Jeffrey Schlupp's excellent finish 6 minutes later. After pulling one back, the Londoners went in pursuit of an equaliser, only to find Martinez in the way of almost everything. The Argentine wears his heart on his sleeve and is willing to put his body on the line to help United and his teammates. And those were traits that shone through against Palace, as did his passing ability. His performance prompted praise from Lineker and Wright. "That defender, man, Martinez at the back, he is something," Wright told BBC Sport, speaking on Match of the Day. Lineker added, "He's gritty. Gritty. We saw a bit of that in Qatar at the World Cup." Alan Shearer defends Manchester United player Casemiro after red card. Story by George Smith. Newcastle United and England striker Alan Shearer believes Casemiro was harshly sent off during Saturday's 2-1 win over Crystal Palace. The Brazilian was dismissed with 70 minutes on the clock after a melee broke out on side of the field furthest from the Old Trafford dugout. United's players took exception to Jeffrey Schlupp's heavy challenge on Antony, which barged him off the pitch, and it resulted in Casemiro clashing with Will Hughes. The incident was looked at by VAR, resulting in on-field referee Andre Mariner going over to the pitchside monitor and making the decision to show Casemiro his first red card in English football. The angle Mariner was shown suggested that the Brazilian had his hands wrapped around Hughes' neck. However, an alternative angle which was not shown to Mariner, looking from the side of the pitch where the incident unfolded, showed that the United ace actually had his hands on Hughes' shirt collar rather than his neck. However, a different camera angle showed that the former Madrid ace had got hold of Hughes' shirt, meaning the incident did not look as bad. And it was because of that angle of the whole incident that Shearer felt it was a hard decision to send him off. "There's a melee in the corner, you can see everyone coming together, there's pushing and shoving and grabbing and everything else," Shearer told BBC Sport, speaking on Match of the Day. "And then the referee is actually sent to the screen because of that, but the angle that he's shown a still, and then he showed it in slow motion, in that position from behind Casemiro from that angle. But there's another angle where it doesn't look anywhere near as bad. And this angle here from behind Hughes, you can see it there closely, he's got hold of him, yes, but by the shirt rather than around the neck." This is Manchester United news for today. Stay tuned to the channel for daily news about the club. If you like the video, give it a like and subscribe to it for more updates on Manchester United. Till next time, thank you for watching.